Hello and welcome to the fall 2022 semester here at KVCC, and welcome to the psychology program and the Psych 102 psychology seminar class. So this is essentially a semester-long orientation advising center where we get to know each other as you are exploring the beginnings of your career in studying psychology. Now, I'm really excited. The psychology program has been a long-time goal of mine, and it's only a couple years old, and it's growing, and there's lots of you. And in fact, there are 2 sections of Psych 102 going on, and I'm going to be using the neat thing is I'm going to be doing these videos to introduce each week and what the expectations of the week are, and I only have to do one because I'm going to post them in both videos. I will try to use my screen to show both classes, but they're identical. When you go into Brightspace, they're identical. Now, speaking of that, if you're watching this video, you've entered into our learning management system called Brightspace, and so you are already somewhat familiar with that. So let's take a look at this. Now, this is what it looks like for OLA. There's an OLB as well, and the video's right there. I'm recording it now, so it's not there. Little bleep about me there. And pretty much the only place you need to go is this content link. And there are 2 links. One is the course overview right there. And the other one is the course timeline. That's what was up when I opened this up. In the course overview, what do you expect? A course overview. Beginning dates, all that stuff. There's going to be a little video here that's going to pop up. It takes a little bit for it to load from YouTube. That's how to navigate this course. But here's the big stuff here. This right here is the place you go to get your course book. Now, when teaching a class online, if you've ever taken a class online at high school or wherever, most people post content online. Read this article. They have some slideshows to watch or anything like that. That are you actually be logged in to look at that. Now, what I did is I took all that out and I created books. These things are called course books, and I publish them and make them available to my students. Now, this particular semester, you can get that book as it's authored by me. Psychology Seminar. It's available as a free PDF. Click right there. You can get it from Apple Books for $4.99, and that will load really nice into your Apple devices, or you can actually buy it for print directly from Amazon. This is also available in our campus store. Okay? Now, let's just jump right to the course book. Contains all the content for the class. Now I'm doing a bunch of these, so I'm going to get it back up here. There we go. So here, whoops, I put the wrong class up there. Sorry about that. Psychology Seminar. There. Filled up the page. Let's go full page here. So here's the Psychology Seminar course book. This is actually a PDF. And see, I'm going from page to page. And here in the PDF version, I can actually jump ahead to chapter 1. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Here's chapter 1. And the way they're all organized is each chapter has 4 parts: attention, learning outcomes, teaching, and assessment. Actually spells a lot of. So there's an attention section, description of the learning outcomes, teaching, and then assessment. And you'll see here the attention section for chapter 1 is expectations. Here I have some very good advice going on here. I'll talk about this in a little bit. And then the learning outcomes, basically how to get this book. the organization of the class, the learning management system, Brightspace. Kind of like how that's fading on there. I never knew it was faded like that. See the kind of fades. That's pretty cool. Learning pathways, the start of the class. This is telling you what to do here. And then each week, everything that you should do, plan ahead at the beginning of the week, review the course book, review the corresponding textbook chapters that are due. There's no textbook in this particular class. That's sort of advice for all of them. For all the classes in the psych program are like this. Then you get to the assessment section, and you have the discussion, a quiz, and I just ask a few questions there, and then there's an assignment. Now this is pretty simple assignment. Just create a document with a little autobiographical sketch. But let me talk about each one of these things. So each week there's going to be a chapter due, and sometimes over a couple weeks you might have different things from the same chapter to do. And it's always discussions, quizzes, and assignments. Now discussions are online. It's an online replacement for what would normally happen in the face-to-face class, people talking to each other, except everybody gets to participate. If you're shy, you don't have to be shy anymore. You don't even have to raise your hand. You need to post. So I put what's called a prompt in the course book. You read that, then you go to the discussion board. I'll show you how to get there in just a moment. And you post a response to my prompt. Now, in order for this to be a discussion, I also require that you read other people's posts and respond to them. You should read them all. I do. Read them all. Pick 2 to reply to. And if you get into a discussion with somebody, you might go back and forth for a while, post as much as you want, but the minimum is you've replied to me and you've posted at least 2 responses to other people's posts. Sometimes there's more than one discussion. You have to do that for each one of them. Quizzes you take online. You've prepared your answers based on the questions that I give you in the course book, and you copy, paste them into the interface. When you're doing an assignment, now assignments are documents that you prepare outside of Brightspace. They're using a word processor, or if I'm asking you to do a presentation, you might be using Keynote or PowerPoint or something like that. Regardless, unless I've instructed you otherwise, no matter what way that you create documents, the document I get is a PDF. If you're using Google Docs, do not send a link and do not send a Google Doc. I can't open them. Don't send Pages documents. I love Pages, love Keynote, great apps. Those are Apple apps. If you are not familiar with them, that's what I use all the time. But when you're submitting Microsoft Word or PDF, and even if it's Microsoft Word, they go well, they're fine. Microsoft Word documents, you can send those, but even then, I prefer a PDF. The reason why is because when I get it as a PDF, I can mark it up right in the interface. I can use the tools to circle things and check mark and, give you kudos about what you did, correct mistakes and write on the paper just as if you were actually getting markup on a paper. So that's that. Now, the other thing along with the course book that's going on is we have another book that I'm introducing you to. And we are familiarized with that book when we go to, in this section right here, here's the course book, and then here's an additional book, Steven Pinker's Enlightenment Now, A Case for Reason, Science, Humanism, and Progress. That is also available at the KVCC store. And this one, the American Psychological Association Concise Guide to APA Style, 7th edition. We have assignments associated with each one of these. We're going to be looking at APA writing style. That's the American Psychological Association standards for writing and citation, giving credit for what you have cited in your paper. And then The Steven Pinker book is a series of discussions that we're going to have. We're going to read chapters in that book, and we're going to have discussions about its content. Those have been all set up already in Brightspace. Now, let's take a look about you've downloaded the course book, you have the Pinker book, you're starting to see your life change because you're reading that book. It is amazing. You have that standards book and it looks all gobbledygook. Now what do? You've read chapter 1, you know that chapter 1 is due this week. You go into Brightspace and you go to the other document, the course timeline. Read all this material. There's a course lounge where I want you to introduce yourselves to each other. There's a course questions discussion board. There's a student intake form that kind of asks questions about your readiness and all that. And then we go into the actual content of the class. Now, here's chapter 1. There's a discussion, a quiz, and an assignment. These are links that will bring you to those discussions, quizzes, and assignments when you're ready to do it. So you read about it and you get it ready using the course book, and then when you're ready, go into Brightspace, go to the timeline, and click the appropriate link to start submitting that work. Now, if you look a little bit down here, a little bit down on the you go to chapter 2, that's week 2, chapter 3, and then in week 4, you'll see that we've continued chapter 3. We have a discussion for chapter 3, and then we have the assignment for chapter 3. But look at that. Special assignment part 1. That is the Pinker book. And that material, the discussion, is in the course book. So if we opened up the course book again, and I'm going to bring it all the way up to the, put my table of contents here. Oh, we'll do that. Go all the way to the top. So here's what we were looking at. You come into here, right there, special assignments. There's 10 chapters we're going to be covering in the class. Click on Special Assignments. And here we go. The Enlightenment Now. The task. There's the book. And then Part 1. You read all this, and here's the discussion. Right there, Part 1 discussion. Then there's going to be Part 2, where you're going to earn that certificate right there. That's going to be cool. Gapminder test. There's a Part 2 discussion A, Part 2 discussion B. Here's Part 3. And there's a Part 3 discussion. I think you get where I'm going. So at the end of the book is outlined what I'm expecting you to do regarding the Pinker book. The other chapters are spread out through the class based on the course timeline. So, here's how things are going to go each week. You're seeing this video at the beginning of week 1. At the beginning of each week, I'm going to introduce with a video what we're doing for that week. It should be available early Monday morning or sometime on Monday. So you can still look at the timeline and see what's due and start reading and all that stuff. You can work ahead. Don't work ahead on the discussions, but you can work ahead on everything else. I want us to be together on the discussions. Certainly start reading the Pinker book. Now, so each week I'll be doing that, and whatever is due that week is due by Sunday night at midnight. So that's the kind of universal due date for everything. I try to get grading done really quickly first couple days of the next week, and we carry on through the week. There are some times where I'm going to be asking to meet with you face-to-face on video, or if you're on campus, I can meet you there. Now, this is going to be a huge undertaking. Between the two sections, there's 40-something of you. So I'm going to do my best to try and schedule that, but I'm going to need your help to be, flexible and responsive. I'm going to be putting some polls out with openings for people to put themselves in and arrive at those schedules. They're not long meetings, but we're going to be getting into doing some planning for your future at KVCC. And by the time this class is done, not only are we going to discuss, kind of discuss what your classes are going to be for the rest of your time here at KV, but we will also just be discussing your next college, where you're going to go for your bachelor's degree. And with some of you, I'm going to have a discussion about graduate school, if you're inclined toward that particular thing. And I very much encourage it. I have a whole bunch of graduate degrees because they're easy. Now, they're challenging, but motivation is not a problem when you're getting a graduate degree. Well, of course it is. You got to, put time aside. But anyway, we will have those discussions about your future in the field of psychology. Or maybe after this class, you'll decide that this isn't for you, and that's progress as well. Courses like this have a lot to do with moving your needle. Where are you going to be going in your future? What is in your future? Right now, you're exploring psychology. Maybe it isn't for you, and you're going to find that out, and that is a great thing to find out now instead of spending a whole bunch of money trying to get something that you don't want. So I look forward to getting to know most of you very well. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you and doing the best that we can to make this class work. So good luck this semester, and I will see you in the discussion boards.